Thelema, Coast to Coast, Show 24, Part 2, April 9, 2006. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Welcome to Thelema, Coast to Coast. My name is John Crow, and I'm the host of the show. Yesterday, in celebration of the first day of the writing of the Book of the Law, I released a recording of the first chapter. Today I'm releasing a recording of the second chapter. This is a very special recording because it was made specifically for the podcast. Before getting into the rendition of the second chapter, though, I have a brief interview with John Sewell, the producer of this recording, and we're going to talk a little about what the ideas were that he had when I asked him to create this for the podcast. So here's John and myself talking about the recording.
John, welcome back to the podcast, 93.
93.
Now, earlier last month, I asked you to make a rendition of the second chapter of the Book of the Law in celebration of the 3 days of the writing of the Book of the Law. Can you go over what your thought pattern was in relation to this project?
Certainly. Well, to begin with, you had explained to me that the first chapter was going to be a single voice reciting the chapter, and that the third was going to be more of a musical arrangement around the third chapter of the writing of the Book of the Law. So, doing the second, I thought it would be nice to try and create something that was both distinct from the two of those and something of a progression. So what I chose to do was a sort of a chanting. It's 5 voices reading the entire second chapter in unison. And so we're trying to capture the idea of the book with the many voices and the singular intelligence, or the consciousness of the universe as it is expressed through all the multitude expressions of life. 5 being the number of the pentagram or the microcosm. It seemed to work really nicely.
Also, what kind of musical accompaniment do you have with that? Since the first one is just a single voice, how did you add music, or what instruments did you use in the recording?
I actually chose to use a Tibetan bowl, and so at the beginning of the recording there are 2 sharp rings for the second chapter, and then in the background there's this continuous use of the Tibetan bowl, which is a beautiful brass bowl that you use like a wand, and circular patterns around it, and it basically creates a really nice droning effect that's used for chanting and meditation. And I've done a lot of study in sound and music as it ties in with magical work. And so it seems like a really nice instrument to use, again, to create that sort of hypnotic effect. And the bowl is tuned to D, and D corresponds Kabbalistically to both the letter Resh and the letter Zain. Resh being the sun and the conscious mind, and Zain being the discriminating intelligence, the sword that divides a thing into 2 parts and then chooses between one and the other. So again, they really tie in with the whole idea of hadith. And overall, I wanted to create something where a person were to read along with it, to pick up the Book of the Law and read along, that they would create that 6th voice in there, that sort of macrocosm out of the microcosm.
From listening to the recording, it's very apparent that the readers were staying with each other. How much practice did you all do to make sure that you kind of read it in the same way, at the same speed, and so forth?
Well, we read all the way through the book several times and recorded all of them. And then basically we picked the one that was really tight, that really worked well together. I think it was the last one we did, where it was just we really had practiced it enough that we all felt that whole singularity. And then we went through the couple of verses where we'd gotten off or where somebody sneezed, and we just re-recorded those, and I digitally worked them into the recording.
Now, when you did the recording, you were not doing the Tibetan bowl at the same time. That was added after?
No, we started out with the Tibetan bowl to get the tone of it, so we all had, the pitch in our ear, but we didn't actually use it throughout the recording.
Okay.
So basically we used it to get pitch at the beginning, although we're not actually singing, it's more of a chanting. But
right.
We didn't actually, just during the recording.
Okay. And who were the people that were involved in the project?
Andre and Heather Freeman, and Melissa Holm, Courtney Landis, and myself, all from the Seattle area OTO.
Wonderful. Well, we definitely thank them all. Is there anything else you want to add?
Only thank you for the opportunity. I was honored when you called and asked me to do this, and it was really fun, and I'm very pleased with the work that we did.
Fantastic. Well, I'm very, very, very happy with the result. I think it does kind of take those two disparate elements and bring them together as a nice transition for the three. And I think it's wonderful to have the myriad of recordings out there of the Book of the Law. I see people asking about it all the time and not necessarily knowing where they can go to hear various presentations of it. So I think it's great that we've been able to produce one more, a very unique version, something that people can listen to and get ideas on how they can do a recitation of the chapters themselves in their bodies in the celebration of the Book of the Law. So I'm just very happy with it. So thanks for doing it, and thanks to everyone in Seattle. And here it is.